Hey everybody, Kenny here. So you're hitchhiking and somebody just picked you up. What do you say? That's what this video is about. Just what do you say when you get in the car? What do you actually talk about while you're driving? What do you say when it's time to get out of the car? And like what kinds of people pick up hitchhikers anyway? That's what we're getting into. Somebody asked me to make a video about this the other day, and people ask me about this general concept all the time. What's it like hitchhiking? What do you talk about? And who picks you up? And the answer is pretty limitless, but we're gonna tackle this anyways. As far as the type of people that pick up hitchhikers, like whatever label or category or lump name you can think of, like they probably pick people up. So a lot. And then as far as how far people are going, that's also pretty variable. I've had people literally like say, I'm going there. I'm like that next traffic light? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, fuck it. I'll get in anyways, because you never know. I'll get into that too. Then you never know. Or they're going across the country, you know, they're going thousands of miles. You're going to ride with this person for days, minutes, days, you don't know until you get in the car. And even then, things can change. So it's all very variable. And the types of conversations are too. And I'll get into that. But I'll start with getting in the car. And that depends even, sometimes you're on an on-ramp and you can like see the person through the windshield even, and they're going real slow and you kind of make eye contact and they stop and you get in. Other times they're zooming down the highway and they decide to pick you up. But by the time they stop, they're 50 yards down and you're running up. And an 18-wheeler, sometimes it's just, you're just opening the door and hopping in and saying, thanks so much. Like, thanks so much is probably what I say number one every time, almost in any situation, unless they say something first. Thanks so much. It's either opening the door and getting in, thank you, appreciate it. Or, they're doing a thing where they got the window rolled down. And I always like duck down first, even before I open, sometimes with the truck, I just open the door and just get in. But if it's the car, I usually try to like duck down and see and make sure, just in case they stop to look at a map. That's happened before too. I got in this dude's car and he didn't stop for me. He had stopped to check his map or something. I was like, whoa, this happened like 2 or 3 times. I've just gotten into someone's car who didn't stop for me. I thought they did. Every single time it worked out well, and that they actually ended up giving me a ride. But try to check. And then usually they just kind of wave and you open the door. If they have the window down, sometimes it's because they're suspicious, not always though. And sometimes people don't know you're on an adventure necessarily, so it's like, where's your car? They might ask like that, or are you okay? Are you in trouble? Is everything fine? And you just want to be, yeah, everything's good. I assume a lot of you watching this are going on adventures or want to, and not just like stuck hitchhiking. If you are, that's another thing. That happens, you run out of gas or something. But yeah, just tell them what you're doing. Be cool. Say, I'm going to Southern California. That's where I am right now. I've been hitchhiking here the past few days. So yeah, say where you're going and jump on in, hopefully. So yeah, you get in, you say thanks. I often say where I'm going right away. I don't always ask where they're going right away, just because I do know, and this is maybe an overly cautious, semi-polite thing, but I do know that some people pull this trick, drivers, they'll either not say anything or they'll say they're going to like the next town, even though they're going much further. And they do that to suss you out kind of, and that way they have an out, because if they pick you up and they say they're going to the next town and then you turn out to be like stinky as hell or just like annoying, obnoxious, whatever, they don't want you in their car, they can easily be like, all right, like I said, let's go to the next town, and you're out of there without having to like kick you out, So I give them that opportunity to not have to say where they're going, just in case, whatever, maybe it's overly nice. But what I will say is I'm going to wherever, and then see where that conversation leads. And then I might ask, where are you from around here? And then that gives them, without directly asking them where they're going, they can reveal where they're going. Because I say, are you from around here? And they say, no, I'm from San Diego. That's where I'm going now. I'm coming back from San Francisco. Boom. Now I know where they're going. I know where they're from, and then that opens up everything else. Like, oh, I slept in Golden Gate Park once, blah, blah, blah. Off to the races. You're talking about anything. Or they can say, no, I'm from fucking Nashville, or I'm from the Netherlands, or whatever. And then, you find out what kind of adventure they're on that way. And, if it still isn't revealed where they're going after a while, I'll probably ask. But generally, like, if you're on the road, you're on the road. You're on I-5 South or whatever. It's like you're going. Like, it's kind of, I guess it's nice to know where you're going. But if you're on the way, you're on the way. If they turn off, you hop out. Yeah, and then all kinds of people can pick you up, like I said. So conversations can vary wildly from, just the weather outside, how the rain's been, which is pretty basic human conversation. And sometimes it's pertinent to you, if you're going to be camping that night. I guess it's nice to know if where you're going is going to be below freezing. But hopefully you get into some like good conversations, different stuff. And it can be anything. I've had people admit to murder. One guy. Plenty of people about cheating. The other day, maybe 2 weeks ago now, this guy like picked me up and he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to cheat on my old lady with this super hot girl up here in Woodland Hills, like, so I can give you a ride like to there or anywhere in between. I'm like, okay, man. So people just be honest with you a lot of times because you're sort of an anonymous person. Theoretically, you don't know anyone they know, and you're just a stranger, and they can really get some stuff off their chest asking you if you want to. And people sometimes just talk your ear off. This guy the other day, you gave me a ride over the grapevine, picked me up somewhere, I don't know, far north of Bakersfield. His granddaughter's in the back. He just proceeded to tell me the entire detail for detail story of how he got arrested with a half a pound of pot in Mississippi and went to jail. And, what I just told you in a few seconds, he told me over the course of an hour and a half, like every single detail. And I just listened and, asked a couple qualifying questions, but he just kept on going. So I was like, all right, here's the story. And I listened to it. Other times it's the other way around, especially, since I've been traveling like 16 years now, hitchhiking around. People are curious about that. They want to ask the question I'm answering in this video or whatever. Like they want to hear the details, and then I'm the one just talking and talking and talking, and they ask a question and then keep me going. And then other times it's just a back and forth. So it's literally anything. Any conversation you can possibly think of might break out in the car once you've gotten through that initial, like, you're cool, I'm cool, we're cool, let's go. Like, how far are we going? Like, is this going to be a 3-minute conversation, in which case, like, not much is going on. But even in those 3-minute conversations, try to, say anything interesting that you are doing and try to be curious, because someone who's only going a few exits, maybe they're just going to pick up some stuff at Walmart or whatever. If they find you interesting and they have a little bit of time, I have a lot of examples of people who've either been like, oh, I was going to go here, but I can take you a few exits, or maybe they're on their way home from work and they're like, if I take you like 5 miles further, there's a big truck stop, whatever, and it'll be better for you. And hell yeah, that's better. Like a 5-minute drive, a 10-minute round trip for them is like, that could have saved me a day, better than being in the middle of the city. So just by being somewhat polite, nice, interesting, they might do you that little favor. And they always come up with that idea. I don't think I ever ask, unless they suggest, can I take you further? I don't want anyone to drive even a mile out of their way on my suggestion, but if they suggest it, most definitely. And to the extreme, well, yeah, we can go way extreme. There are some people that are just kind of out for a drive, or that's how it turns out. Instead of going 5 miles extra, they'll be like, I just got off work, I was going home, but I'll drive an hour that way, just to be nice. Or oh, I've got a friend in that town, I'll drive you there and drop in on them, that'd be cool, and just totally change their plans. Even so, one of the more extreme ones was I was with a girlfriend hitchhiking clear across the country. This guy picked us up in Kingman, Arizona, and he was going to Michigan, and we were going to New York, Connecticut. So already it was like, sweet, that's a hell of a ride. And we were with that guy for over a day, sleeping in his car and parking lots and stuff. And we got to like Tennessee or wherever he would have turned off, and he was like, you know what? I never been to New York. You mind if I just like drive you guys all the way there? We're like, yeah, dude, let's do that. Awesome. So he totally changed, weeks of his life, basically. I mean, that's a whole nother story. That guy was wild. But yeah, you never know. So share your most interesting stories if you can, and try to get people's most interesting stories if you can. I mean, that's on a base level hitchhiking, you're trying to get from A to B, but you can meet some amazing people and you can get the highlights of their life, even in a 30-minute conversation. You can get their best story, like everybody's got amazing stories. Well, most people do. And you can hear about it, think about it. Like movies are only 2 hours long. And if you're driving with someone for over 2 hours, like you're definitely have the opportunity to get the distilled best version of their life. So try to get that if you can. So there's that. You can talk about anything. When it comes to getting out of the car, I mean, it's pretty basic at the end there. It's just like, say thank you. A lot of times people try to give you stuff, like especially if you've had a good conversation or if they're just like a charitable kind of person, and that could just be like water, or sometimes they'll try to give you $5, or I've had people give me $100, and like you can never say no to any of this stuff. That people don't take no for an answer, and like no matter what they're giving you, like it's making them feel super good. Radishes, guy gave me radishes the other day. I'm like, all right, load them up. Sometimes people are looking around like, what do I give you? I'm like, I don't know. And they find a granola bar or something. I don't know what it is, but people just love to, I don't know, they feel like they have to or want to give you some item or something. I don't know. A little side story. This is kind of funny. This guy dropped me off in Delaware near a boardwalk, and then I thanked him, closed the door, walked away, and then he drove back up on me, and he's like, hey, take some gummy worms. I'm like, okay. So I'm like reaching, and I grabbed like a gummy. He's like, take a few. I'm like, okay. So I grabbed a handful of gummy worms. I'm like, all right. And like, they're gummy worms, I can't just jam them in my pocket. So I just ate this whole handful of gummy worms, and it was only like most of the way done through chewing them and swallowing them, I realized no grown man gives another grown man regular gummy worms. Like, we'd been talking about weed earlier. I just ate a whole mess of edibles. Like, damn it. Each one of those worms was a dose. I should have thought that through. That was on me. That was on me. Because he knew what he was doing. He didn't know that I would be an idiot, though, and not know. That was an interesting night. Yeah, and people give you weed and stuff like that all the time, too. Beer in the car. That's all the time. All right, so that's like getting out of the car. But I do want to say something about the lead up of getting out of the car, because this can be important, especially if there's like a junction coming up. Say you're in a 18-wheeler and they're going west, 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 and you need to go north, and there's like a junction, but it's like, a highway junction. It's not like there's a gas station there and a proper exit. It's like you drive and you turn. You want to give them a heads up on that one, especially like an 18-wheeler, someone who doesn't have as much flexibility, I would say. Like this junction's coming up, and kind of work out what the plan is, what you're going to do, like, because they need to know. Some drivers are comfortable pulling off on the side of the road, some aren't. You may or may not be comfortable getting off on the highway. Like sometimes it's illegal, who cares? In a way, like I don't. But you want to know and plan with them like how that's going to be, because sometimes still, if it's a car and someone who's hitchhiked before and they might know, they might be like, all right, well, we can get there and I can turn on your junction road north and go up and exit, drop you off, and they'll loop back and go. That's like ideal if they'll do something like that. But I just let them decide. I'm not forcing anything. I'll suggest something if they ask. But you want to know, that way you're not just blowing through the junction like in a truck, and if they're not willing to stop on the side of the road, they might go right past your junction and then go an exit or two down the opposite way, and then you got to walk back or hitch a ride back. It's a disaster. So you want to say something maybe like a couple miles before that, or more, depending. So either one of you thinks something through. So there's that. That's kind of an important one. Yeah, and that's I think it kind of covers a lot of the bases. Like, it's just a vast array of things that can happen, like unlimited, and just have fun with it. And yeah, that's really it. There's not much more to say about that, about what you say. So if there's more things that you guys think I didn't cover, leave it in the comments, and if I can cover it in a comment, I'll just do that. If there's something more complex or whatever, I can make another video. But hitchhiking's fun, and you can end up having some pretty wild conversations, and have a good time with it. Meet all kinds of people. So they might even, take you in, be a friend for life. So happy days. Hope that works out for you guys, and happy travels. I will see you down the road.